going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of interAXEtion. I recently just got back from NAMM, which was a ton of fun. You know, got to meet some of the internet, got to see a lot of great guitars and hang out with some really good people. Got to meet people I haven't met in person yet. It was a lot of fun. As always, I posted like 40 pictures up on my interAXEtion Facebook page. If you guys want to go check that out. It was a lot of fun. So we're back, so let's jump right into these questions. A bit off topic, but how to play pedal tone riffs which are supposed to be alternate picked. For example, Lamb of God's Laid to Rest is completely alternate picked, but their open E's chug sound like they're down picked. I want to know how to clean all that up. So this is a really good question, and this stems from the Metallica video I did about down picking, and how down picking kind of has its own energy, right? And if you can play up the speed like some of those Metallica riffs, for example, it kind of has a different feel and energy than you would if you alternate pick through those riffs. So he's asking, like, well, what about riffs that sound like some of it's down picking, sounds like some of it's alternate picking, and how do I kind of clean up that sound? And I would suggest doing just that. Anytime you're playing that open in for example, the Laid to Rest song, that open D, palm mute it and hit it hard, and then when you're playing the notes, you can alternate pick those if you want, but it's all the same tempo outside of the trills. So you can still down pick those if you wanted to, but that's how I would approach it, right? Down pick what you can, down pick what makes sense, and then conversely, alternate pick what makes sense and what's cleanest for your playing, all right? Awesome song. For those of you who don't know how to play Laid to Rest, go jam on it, because it's a lot of fun to play. And in fact, all Lamb of God is really fun to play. I really appreciate everything you do. For us Tool fans who play guitar, your channel is extremely valuable. I love the time and effort in it. I was thinking that while we're waiting for the new record, if you can go through, say, A and Descending. I've gotten this request a lot, and I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna wait until I drop the new album to start picking apart any material. I wanna see what things turn into. I wanna see what it is, what the final product is. You know, I don't want to start breaking apart live videos, which could be improv, which could be half worked out, half rehearsed, half written. I don't know what they are. Personally, I'd just rather wait till the new material drops. So when the new album does come out, we'll dive in, we'll dig in to some of the hot tracks right off the bat. Dude looks like my old guitarist Dave. Before me and the singer tag team his ex and he quit. LOL. Really? Poor Dave. Maybe he wanted to get on the fun. Maybe you guys could have worked a deal out, somebody was holding the camera, I don't know. But why do you have to do that to Dave? And secondly, LOL, really, LOL. Every time you use LOL at the end of your statement, a kitten dies, okay? If you need to put LOL at the end of anything that you say online, it's not funny, you're not funny, and you're not giving people credit for understanding the context of your joke. Sorry, it's a pet peeve, LOL, so stupid. Hey, thanks for this. I've seen at least 4 times people on YouTube comment saying that 3/2 is actually a polymeter and not a polyrhythm. However, you and countless others I've watched seem to back up that 3/2 is indeed a polyrhythm. Yes, 3/2 is a polyrhythm. Triplets over 8 notes, right? Again, the main difference between a polyrhythm and a polymeter is that polymeters cross bar lines, right? It takes 2 or 3 measures for them to land back on one, okay? Polyrhythms fall within a measure. So 3/2, triplets over 8 notes, everything lines up, the next measure starts all over again. Hey man, I was wondering how you know which extensions to use. The progression sounds great, but I don't know how you create that other by guesswork. Is there certain theory on why you choose the chords that you did? Yes. Great question, by the way. This is referring to an old video that I did on how to incorporate jazz chords into your playing. And I'm going to try to answer this as quickly as I can, because there is a lot of theory that is involved in that. All right. First of all, you have to be aware of, you know, the chord scale. What is that, right? If you take the scale, any scale of the key you're playing in, you can build a chord on every one of those notes, right? So that always changes. That always remains constant or the same regardless of what key you're in. That formula doesn't change. Secondly, you have to know your extensions, right? Turn every one of those triads, major and minor, into 7th chords. Major 7th chords, minor 7th chords, and dominant 7th chords. And again, where they are in the scale always remains the same. That doesn't change. You just need to know how to put them together. So how do you know what extensions they are? Well, they're just notes from the scale, right? And then over time, you'll learn, if you're gonna, break out of modally in any sense and not stay within a key, you'll learn the sound or the color or the flavor of 7th chords, 9th chords, 11th chords, and what that brings to your palate, so to speak. I always refer to learning modes and all that stuff almost like painting, right, with colors. You have 50 different shades of blue or red or yellow. So how do you know which one you want, right? So every chord quality is going to sound slightly different and have its own flavor, right? A minor 9 chord is going to sound very different from like a minor flat 9 chord, right? Which is a minor 7 chord with a flat 9 or a minor 7 chord with a 9. They sound very different. And over time, you'll learn which chords and extensions you like the most and apply them to your writing. And that's really what it's all about. You don't have to learn everything. Learn what resonates with you and then what helps you express what you have inside, right? So, awesome question, guys. Yeah, we're back. Leave me your theory questions, gear questions, whatever questions you want down below, and we will talk about it, all right? So as always, let me know what you come up with, and until then, I will see you next time. Thanks a lot.